Yes, sir.
Just thinking about term limits. I think most tribes that I know of all do have term limits, except Chickasaw Nation. I'm not
I
sure.
know quite a few tribes do have term limits, and in 1995, I was requesting that the Carter Commission come to Chickasaw Nation to monitor our election. However, they chose Cherokee Nation to monitor, and that nation, the benefit from that election was they got a new government that has been truly for the Cherokee people.
What would be the number of terms that you would recommend?
I would allow someone to put a committee together, submit several options, let the people determine what they felt like their elected officials should serve. There might be a time that you could serve so many terms, be out of office for so long, and then serve again. That would be up to the citizens to decide. It's not something that I would say, this is what we're going to do.
Would you be talking about just legislators, or would you be talking about other offices?
I'm talking about all elected positions, all appointed positions in the executive branch. Their appointees sometimes come before the legislature for a consent. I have sat there and watched some of the things. I do not get an opportunity to speak about the persons being appointed, but I do go and I watch. I've taken people to the legislature since 1990. I try to make every one of those meetings. That's something that we have to do.
How do you feel about campaign contributions for the elected positions in our tribe?
I would do like the United States does, not allow outside companies to donate large dollar amounts to campaigns, because that tends to corrupt the method.
What about internal contribution?
I would like to submit that to the people to see what they felt like would be reasonable contribution amounts. If you're wanting to represent our people, you should be willing to put your own money at stake. I've done that for the last 3 terms.
I wouldn't mind contributing to your campaign, but what I'm saying is an internal contribution from, let's say, the executive branch.
I do not believe that the executive branch should be allowed to contribute Chickasaw money to a Chickasaw campaign, because that would be a method of trying to buy votes within the legislature. Within the legislature, it takes 7 agreeable persons to pass a law. Our executive branch governor can approve that law without any other means. He also can veto it. If the executive branch vetoes any proposed law, then the legislature, to override that, would require 9 legislators to act and say, yes, we want to put that to a vote of the people. Yes, sir.
With the growth of our nation over the last 20 years with Governor Anatoly in the governor's position, and not a constant turnover in that position, with him being able to run for as many term limits as he wants, and people, I guess, being happy with his position as they keep re-electing him, how would putting a term limit or a cap on that position help in any way?
I was there when we were flat broke. I monitored all of our contracts. I monitored our business accounts. I do have a background in accounting. The governor is a good man. However, the United States government gives Native Americans a considerable amount of funds to operate on. Those things, they go out and they invite the tribes to write grant applications. And they will say, you are more than qualified because you are recognized as one of the tribes that the DIA has known of and has been consistent for years. So, a term limit on the governor's office would be just as reasonable as a term limit on the legislator's office, or even on the Supreme Court judge's office. Yes, sir.
You mentioned something about protecting sovereignty,
But you didn't mention it, but you didn't go any farther. Is there something in your site that is critical at this time that needs protecting?
Within this past year, the legislature has approved allowing the sovereignty issue for the gaming department to be handled by the executive branch instead of the legislative branch. In other words, the legislative branch, to me, has given away part of their power. That's something that I think they should look on a case-by-case basis. Chickasaw Nation needs to establish its own corporation laws. We need to incorporate businesses within Indian Nation boundaries and let our citizens operate under our protection. Yes, ma'am.
What was the vote on that?
I would tell you if I remembered exactly, but I remember it passed. There was a proposal to table the issue because one of the legislators who had a law degree did not understand all the wording that was in it. But the motion to table was overridden and it passed by a considerable majority. I was not a legislator. All I could do is sit there and watch.
You couldn't even talk, could you?
I was not allowed to talk.
would you have been?
I would have said I would not have agreed to having most of our corporations established under New Jersey law or Delaware law, whichever one it is that our corporations are established under. I would rather have our corporations established under our sovereign laws.
You believe the governor should have an open door policy to the Chickasaw people?
In 1995, the structure of the nation was the people were at the top. There was the legislative branch, executive branch, and judicial branch. And if the people were at the top, then they needed to be able to have access to the branches that were beneath them. Each one of those branches should be serving those that are above and answering to them. To me, if we operate as a corporation and we recognize him and pay our executive person the amount of compensation that's being paid, I believe he should, or whoever's in that office should come before the people and speak with them and find out what their needs are and do the best that's they're able to do to benefit each one of us by providing education for our youngsters, providing health care for our elders, and just having a good social time.
And the government should be for the people, by the people too, shouldn't it?
As far as I'm concerned, that's the way it was.
Yes.